Hello, YouTube. Um, I meant to do this review on Sunday. I apologize. But I ended up working 4 days in a row and I was just too tired to do it. Um, I tried to do it yesterday. I didn't like how it turned out, so I would give it another shot today. But anyway, I'm going to be reviewing the DC animated movie Superman Batman Public Enemies. Now, this movie is, of course, based on the graphic novel by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. I'm all right. Jeff Loeb and I know. Whenever I think Jeff Loeb, I think Tim Sale. I apologize. Um, no. Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness. Um, and as you could probably tell that the animation is done. Um, the style of the animation is very much done in the art style of Ed McGuinness. Um, Now, this movie, the premise of this movie is Lex Luthor has become president of the United States, and as a result of that, um, this story is actually pretty interesting because it has a little bit of a Marvel Civil War vibe to it. And no, I'm not talking about Captain America Civil War because that movie almost had nothing to do with the graphic novel. I'm talking about in comparison to Marvel Civil War, the graphic novel by Mark Millar and Steve McNiven. Um, this has similarities to Marvel Civil War because most of the superheroes in this movie are working for Lex Luthor. Um, so when the movie opens, um, you see that some of the superheroes are already working for Lex Luthor. So Black Lightning, Power Girl, Captain Atom, Katana, and Major Force all work for Lex Luthor. and and believe it or not, everything seems fine at first. Everything is kind of, like on the up and up. Um, uh, he did pretty much what nobody was expecting him to do, and that's the and that's he pretty much made things boring again. Like crime is down. There are no wars going on. So he did pretty much what no one is you know he did pretty much what no one expected. Um and um but obviously, Lex Luthor being Lex Luthor, he obviously has an agenda, right? And he has a lot of people sold on this crap story about how, oh, I'm reformed and I'm a different person, and I'm not who I once was, blah blah blah. And and obviously everybody buys, a lot of people are buying that story, obviously, except for Batman and Superman, Superman especially. So, at the beginning of the movie, you have Captain Atom and his, his group of heroes basically coming to Superman saying, work with us, we need you. And Superman is basically, and Superman basically just says, yeah, I'm not buying it. Um, so, um, so in this movie, Superman, there is a kryptonite meteor headed for Earth, and Superman meets with, um, Lex Luthor reaches out to Superman. He makes this huge, like, public announcement saying, talking about, that the kryptonite meteor, saying, but as a precaution, I want to meet with Superman. It is time to bury our rivalry once and for all and work together for the good of mankind. which is obviously a load of crap, right? So, um, so Superman ends up meeting with him, and he ends up putting together. He ends up framing Superman for a crime, obviously, that Lex Luthor committed. And he puts together like this false, he records, like their meeting. He records, like they're meeting together, and basically heavily edits the footage to make it look like that Superman attacked him, and lost his temper, and puts, he puts this out there for literally the whole world to see. And as a result of that, Superman obviously becomes public enemy number one. And obviously, and because, Batman and because, Batman and Superman have, like that bromance, type of, relationship, Batman is obviously seen as an accomplice. So Batman and Superman basically become, public enemies. And one of the things I really love about this movie, again, while I'm on the topic of the bromance of Batman and Superman, you get a lot of like playful banter back and forth between Batman and Superman. So you get a lot of funny moments between them, that shows you, that they truly are, like the best of friends, and that they're basically brothers. And so like one of the moments is Batman is working on something, he's waiting for Superman to show up, and Batman goes, "You're late. What took you?" And Superman goes, "I honestly don't think you'd understand." And Batman's like, "Lois?" And Superman's like, "Mm-hmm." And Batman's like, "You're right." So you get, all of these, you get all these like, funny exchanges between them. And then there's another one later on where, and this is an awesome scene, you get Lex Luthor announces a bounty on Superman. And, so there's one point in the movie where you literally have literally everybody from heroes and villains alike going after Batman and Superman. I literally, like, every DC hero and villain, that you can imagine is coming after them. And so Superman goes, so Batman goes, "I suppose it's pointless to tell you to leave." And Superman goes, "I wouldn't miss this for anything." And Batman goes, "Your funeral?" And Superman's like, "Already had one." So, so just, moments like that really, really show, like their bromance and their relationship, and just, like how close they are. And there are also there are great callback scenes in the movie from the from the graphic novel that, if you've read the graphic novel and haven't seen this, you would recognize right off the bat. Like you have a great shot of you have a perfect recreation of Metallo shooting Superman in the cemetery with the kryptonite bullet. You have an awesome scene, going back to what I was saying before about every hero and villain alike coming after them. You have an awesome scene of you have that awesome scene of the Batman punching Lady Shiva in slow motion. So, moments like that, where they perfectly recreate, that moment, from the graphic novel, from the graphic novel that fans, are just going to recognize like right off the bat. And, another thing about Jeff Loeb's writing, that I love so much, he's like the master of like turn the page and it's like, oh my God, it's it's, you know, Superman and Batman fighting, you know, this person, but um and yeah, and you know, and he just, you know, he does such an awesome job at that. But yeah, no, with this movie, you literally have everybody coming after them, from everybody from like Hawkman to you know, Shazam um Starfire shows up in one scene. I mean, just, you know, literally everybody. And you know, in heroes, and you know, you have heroes in the movie that are actually stupid enough to buy, you know, Lex Luthor's BS story about, you know, about how he's changed and he's reformed and yada yada yada. Um and Batman and Superman are pretty much the only ones that, you know, that don't believe it. That don't believe, you know, that he's changed. I mean, Power Girl kind of starts to buy into it later on. She does end up helping them later on in the, you know, towards the end of the movie. Um, she like at one point in the movie, you hear Batman say to Power Girl, she goes, "Tell me something, Power Girl. Now that you've been now that you've been, you know, up close and personal with with Luthor, how do you feel?" And she's like, you know, she goes, "He's the president." And Batman's like, "But how do you feel when you're around him?" And and super and she goes, "He makes my skin crawl." So, you know, so she starts to, you know, so she starts to see, you know, and she starts to see, you know, later on, she's like, "Wait a minute, maybe I don't necessarily believe that, you know, that he's, you know, that, um, that he's reformed and that he's changed." So, so a lot of, there are a lot of great, like I said before, that there are a lot of great scenes in this movie that are callbacks to, you know, the graphic novel. Um, in regards to the voice cast, the fan favorites are back. Kevin Conroy is Batman, Tim Daly is Superman, Clancy Brown as Lex Luthor. This is the original cast from, um, this is the original cast from back then. From back when, this is the original cast from way back when. And but yeah, no, if you guys haven't seen this, this is definitely worth watching. Um, this is definitely worth watching. Um, Lex Luthor is, of course, his usual crazy self. And though I would say in this movie, I would say even more so, because he's taking injections of steroid cocktail, but laced with liquid kryptonite. So, and it's making him, and while it is making him, incredibly strong and incredibly muscular, it's also making him go insane. Like even more so than he already is. So, so great, and that's another great callback to the graphic novel. So, um, stuff like that are just, great callbacks to the graphic novel. Um, but yeah, no, like I said before, if you guys haven't, if you've read the graphic novel but haven't seen this, or if you haven't seen this in general, definitely check this one out. Because it is very much it is very much worth seeing, very much worth your time. So anyway, have you watched it? Let me know. Did you like it? Like, subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.